feel like I've been operating in fight or flight mode for as long as I can remember, and I see how much of that makes it hard for me to be vulnerable with those both close to me and those who are not close to me. I feel like it's really hard to kind of express myself clearly and thoughtfully, or the way I perceive myself and my beliefs in my head. It's just kind of hard expressing it clearly through communication. And it's really strange because for the longest time I felt like I don't need to say too much, because what I say, even in its briefness, is enough and can stand alone. But I think that just kind of made it harder for me to just talk in general. It really did. About a year ago, I started watching Dolores Cannon videos, and one of the things she said is the source talks to her about how slowly, or how, I'm gonna have to find the clip, just basically how slow human communication is. And I took that as basically a lot of people talk with filler, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Like, a lot of people say 10 things just to say one thing, if that makes sense. And she talked about, I think I already said that, the source, or who she says she gets her information from, to say that we communicate so slowly. And that's one of the main reasons why I've always liked metaphors, because you could say a lot in just a small phrase, or like how people say a picture holds or is worth 1,000 words. There's a lot you could say from a picture, or the title of a song, or, you know, just things like that, or a life lesson that just speaks volumes. And for the longest time, I felt like, oh, that kind of makes sense for me, because I don't really like to talk too much, but when I do, I at least try to make it meaningful, and my words hold a lot more heaviness that way. But what I didn't realize I was doing to myself is kind of making it hard for me to perform daily interactions. And I realize now that, like, once I'm done talking about the weather, I just have nothing else to talk about. Like, you know, like, it's hard to have other than surface level conversations, and that is not something that I'm happy with myself about. I used to pride myself on being social and outgoing, and I feel like I have lost that ability. I'm not really sure when, and that kind of eats at me a lot. I can't really pinpoint where all of this started or kind of manifested, but I see it for what it is, and it bothers me a lot, but I know it's something that I could work on. I feel like there's only certain spaces where I feel comfortable being myself and talking confidently, and I could probably count those spaces on my hand and still have a couple of fingers left over, And that wasn't always me. I felt like I could be confident and comfortable in any environment before. And somewhere within the past 5 to 10 years, that has just really changed for me. And I could attribute it to a few things, but a lot of times I feel like it doesn't matter what I attribute it to, because I'm here now and it's something that I have to work through regardless. And I get that identifying triggers is helpful in situations like this, but I feel like I've done a lot of identifying of my own triggers, and now it's kind of, how do I fix what I see, And sometimes it's really hard. And when I feel like my head is above the water and things are smooth sailing, a wave just kind of comes over and hits me unexpectedly, and I'm kind of gasping for air and just kind of struggling. And it's an emotional roller coaster, and I try not to beat myself up too much for kind of not seeing myself go down this path, but like I said, I'm here now, and something I'm working on. Even right now, I feel like I don't know what to say. I have a lot of thoughts in my head, but sorting through them, it's just really hard sometimes. And it makes me feel abnormal. Like, why can't I speak the way I hear myself speaking in my head? Why can't I get it out the way that it's streamlined in my head? And I think a lot of that has to do with feeling like my few choice of words was enough. And maybe I learned that it was just a lot easier not speaking, not being heard, than to speak and just pretend you're being heard, if that makes sense. At some point I felt like do people even care what I'm saying or what I'm talking about? And I get that now people are in their own heads, but I don't think to the extent that I clearly am in. And it's something I'm trying to work on. And it's also one of the main reasons why I make these videos, because I feel like it's practice to hone my once I don't even know what to say, my once well skills with speaking. I don't even know how to phrase that. My ability to articulate things maybe is a better way of saying it. Even now I feel a little anxiety just not knowing what to say, and sometimes feeling like, am I even making sense? But I feel like this video will reach whoever it needs to reach, and as always, I appreciate you guys for listening, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. I hope you're well, wherever you are, whatever time it is, and I'll definitely see you soon. Thanks again.